Indians on the year with 38 wins and 44 losses. The Red Sox have won 55. They have dropped only 25. They lead the East Division of the American League by 9.5 games over Milwaukee and 10 games over the Yankees. Over in the Western Division, it's California, a game and a half over Kansas City, with Oakland, Texas, 2 games back. Been a rather slim slate in the National and American League this afternoon. An afternoon game in Chicago. The Toronto Blue Jays, who have been playing outstanding baseball, got great pitching from young Jim Clancy. And he gave him only 3 hits. He had a little help from Willis, who came on in the 8th inning. And it was a 3-0 shutout. The Blue Jays had 3 runs on 5 hits. Chicago, no runs on just 3 hits. The losing pitcher was Ken Kravick. He's now 7-6. Clancy ups his record to 6-7. And Mick Cerrone had his first home run of the year in the 8th with nobody on. Minnesota's playing in Oakland. It is the Twins 4, Oakland nothing at the end of 2. Erickson against Broberg in that one. Later on at Seattle and California, they have a twilight doubleheader out there. New York's at Milwaukee. Baltimore will be in Kansas City. And the Tigers in Texas. In the National League, the Cubs playing at Shea Stadium in New York. At the end of 4 innings, it's the Mets 4, the Cubs nothing. Burris and Coble in that one. Mazzelli had a home run, and has he been hot? That's his 10th of the year. Montreal's at Philadelphia. It is Fryman going against Christensen. Los Angeles is at Houston. Incidentally, Montreal Philadelphia is a twilight doubleheader. Los Angeles and Houston a twilight doubleheader. San Francisco's at Cincinnati. Pittsburgh will be in St. Louis. And the schedule rounds out with San Diego taking on Atlanta in Atlanta. And there's a little difference of opinion as to whether it's a single or a doubleheader. It could very well be a doubleheader because they've had a lot of rain down that way. One newspaper today had it scheduled as a single game. Another one had it as a doubleheader. So we'll wait and see what comes down the wire. Mike Paxton, good fastball, slider, and an off-speed curveball that he uses so effectively, takes on his former teammates, the Boston Red Sox. Jerry Remy, Jack Brohammer, and then Jim Rice here in the 1st inning. Paxton is ready. Umpire behind home plate is Jim McKean. At first base, Greg Kost. Second base umpire, Jerry Nudecker. George Maloney at 3rd. And now all set to go. And to tell you, well, first of all, the Cubs are still losing. And now here's Joe Tate to tell you that.
It's a beautiful day for baseball. Thank you, Herb. Good evening, everybody. Jerry Remy, 267, 23 RBIs, 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored last night. Watches the first pitch go right back to the screen, low and inside, ball 1. Eddie Yost coaching at 3rd, Johnny Pesky at 1st. Paxton winds up. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Remy. It's high, ball 2. Remy, the second baseman. Thornton at 1st, Kuiper at 2nd, Blanks at short, Bell at 3rd, Grubb in left, Manning in center, Norris in right. Diaz catching, and on the mound, right-hander Mike Paxton. 2-0 pitch, a strike to the outside corner with a breaking ball. The count is 2-1. First of a twilight doubleheader here at the stadium this evening. Wind up. 2-1 pitch to Remy. Outside, 3-1 the count. Bell playing into the cut of the grass at 3rd base. Sox at 55 and 25, hitting .283 as a team with 99 homers, hitting .272 against Cleveland with 11 home runs. They're 3-4 against the Tribe. 3-1 pitch to Remy, strike of the letters, full count at 3-2. Indians hitting .260 as a team with 52 homers, hitting .332 now against Boston with 11 home runs. Wind up, payoff pitch to Remy, high ball 4. Remy walks. And that starts the game. Paxton has labored 84 and 2/3 innings. He has now struck out 39 and walked 31. Jack Brohammer. Hammer hitting .308. 1 homer, 13 RBIs. He was 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. A lefty with Remy at first base, a candidate to steal. Remy is their team leader individually in steals. Stretch, pitch to Brohammer. Curveball, high and outside, ball 1. Jim Rice on deck. Jack 5'9", 170 pounds. A stretch. Throw to first, Remy back to the bag. Indians are 24 and 17 here at the stadium. The Red Sox are 21-19 on the road. At Fenway, the Sox are virtually unbeatable, 34-6. Strikes, then throw to first, and again, Remy back to the bag. Remy on the year has stolen 17 out of 24. He has 17 of their 44 stolen bases. The stretch, 1-0 pitch. Curve, strike, out, 1-1. Mike Paxton, his third appearance against the Red Sox this year. One as a starter, one in relief, has no record. Throw to first, Remy back to the bag. Paxton has gone 7 innings against Boston. Has an earned run average against him of 9. On 4 2/3 innings in his start. A stretch. And the 1-1 pitch will come after another throw to first, puts Remy skidding back to the bag. Runner at first base, nobody out. Top of the first. Stretch by Paxton. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Brohammer. High and inside. Brohammer scrambles down and away, and the count goes to 2-1. It'll be a very busy Saturday night in baseball. 1, 2, 3, 4 twilight doubleheaders for sure, and maybe 5. We'll just have to wait and see when the wire tells us what's going on in Atlanta, whether or not that is a twilighter or just a single night game. The stretch. Remy at first. 2-1 pitch, he goes. Ball is rammed foul down into the bullpen area. Dan leans over the railing, grabs the line drive. Pretty good catch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Remy was on the go, and he comes back. Mike Paxton. Pitched at Pawtucket last year. 10-5. Actually, at Pawtucket, he was 5-0 with an 0.82 ERA, then came to the Red Sox, and in 29 games, won 10 and lost 5. Earned run average with the Bo Sox of 3.83. 2-2 pitch. Brohammer takes high. Full count of 3-2. Dennis Eckersley will be going tonight for the Red Sox. Paxton looking in for the sign from Diaz. Stretch, payoff pitch, Remy goes, the ball is hit in the air into left center field. Johnny Grubb going over, Manning going over, the ball in the gap between them and all the way to the wall. Remy rounds 30, will score. The pick up and the throw back in, Brohammer in standing with a triple.
Well, he could have taken that ball and thrown it any better out in that direction.
Brohammer triples to the wall in left center field. Getting his 14th run batted in. Here's Jim Rice. Jack Brohammer has now hit safely in 17 of his last 19 games with 21 hits in 59 at bats. And that figures out to a batting average of .356. Pitch to the right-hand batting Jimmy Rice. Slider strike, strike 1. Rice at .322, 23 homers, 74 RBIs. He was 3 for 5 last night with 5 runs batted in and 2 runs scored. Rice hitting .337 over his last 21 games. He leads the American League in a variety of categories. Pitch is low on the curve. Count is 1-1. Rice best in the AL with 108 hits, 11 triples, 23 homers, 209 total bases, 74 RBIs, and a slugging percentage of .624. He had a triple last night that drove in 2 runs in the first inning. Wind up and the pitch to Rice. Takes the slider, strike. Good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Red Sox lead 1-0 here in the top of the first. Brohammer at third base, and there's nobody out. Now Yastrzemski on deck. Wind up. 1-2 pitch to Rice. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Rice strikes out. That is the first strikeout for Paxton in his 40th of the year. Rice has now spanned 58 times, and this is 81st game. Now Yastrzemski, a left-hand batter. He has hitting .293, 8 homers, 50 RBIs. 1 for 5 last night, a 2-run homer in the ninth to tie it at 9. Extended his hitting streak to 5 games in a row. He's had 10 hits in his last 21 at-bats, a .476 average, hitting .353 over his last 8 games. Lowhammer at third, 1 out. Kuiper and Thornton both deep on the first base side. Blanks and Bell in tighter at third, and the pitch is a curveball low and outside, ball 1. The baseball will be examined by home plate umpire Jim McKeon, and he concurs with Yastrzemski. There may be something amiss, and he throws it out of play. 1 out, 1 on, 1 run, 1 hit for the Red Sox thus far. A walk to Remy, and then the triple by Brohammer. Wind up from the 1-0 pitch. Yaz looks at the curveball outside, and the count goes to 2-0. Bell playing right on the baseline between second and third, and Blanks about a step behind the line. Kuiper standing in the outfield grass, and Thornton deep along the line at first. 2-0 pitch to Yastrzemski. Curveball low, 3-0 the count. One away here in the top half of the first inning.
Shadow's now going to start to get tough on the hitter because the mound is completely in shadow, and that outfield ball coming out of the sunlight.
There's a ball 4 intentionally given. Yastrzemski walks. Second walk of the inning, intentional walk, and that will put on Carlton Fisk to bat. Fisk, a right-hand hitter, hitting .284, 10 homers, 35 RBIs, 1 for 3 last night with a run scored. Bryce is hitting .337 over his last 21 games. He's had hits in 17 of them. Now let me read Fisk's numbers for you. He's hitting .333 over his last 23 games. Has hit safely in 18 of them. May 26th, his batting average is .336. Lowhammer at third, Yastrzemski at first. Now time called. There's something wrong with the bat.
Carlton Fisk can take longer to get to and from home plate than anybody in the game.
Well, Carlton Fisk has made whatever repairs he felt were necessary, and here he comes back. All right, we have received word that it is a doubleheader in Atlanta tonight. Thank you. Fisk ready. Runners in the corners with 1 out. The stretch, and the pitch to Fisk is a slider, strike 1, inside corner. The Shreve Methodist Church girls softball team is here tonight from Shreve, Ohio. Rachel Wachtel, one of Randy Thornton Stand Club devotees, telling us that the Shreve girls are here. Here's the stretch. Throw to first. Yaz back to the bag. Good crowd, and they're still coming in here at the stadium. Fisk, slightly closed right-hand stance. Brohammer at third. Yastrzemski at first. Pitch to Fisk. He hits a long drive to left field. Glove going back, and it is gone. Home run for Fisk, his 11th of the year, and it is 4-0. Frank Duffy said last night of the pregame show, Herb, the one thing that Eckersley has had this year is great offensive support, and here's an example.
As we saw last night, the Boston Red Sox, a team that can just explode on you. Last night, Indians had them down 4 runs in the ninth with 2 men out, and they tied it.
Fisk now with 38 RBIs.
They can get on the scoreboard in a hurry.
That is the 100th home run of the year for the Red Sox. 56th surrendered by the Indians, and the 7th off Paxton.
Red Sox playing in their 80th game, or 81st game now.
Freddie Lynn, left-hand batter, the 11-game hitting streak alive, takes a strike on the knees to even the count at 1-1. Lynn is hitting .326, 13 homers, 43 RBIs, 1 for 4 with the ribby last night. Had 17 hits in his last 46 at-bats, longest streak of the year. Curveball low and outside, 2-1 the count. Red Sox 4-0. The Indians have yet to come to bat. Pitch, curveball, high, 3-1 the count. George Scott on deck. A walk, a triple, a strikeout, a walk, and Fisk's 3-run homer. Wind up with a 3-1 pitch. That is high, ball 4. Lynn walks. Third walk of the inning.
Down to the bullpen runs Ronnie Truitt, and out to the mound trots Harvey Hannock.
George Scott due to bat. Scott hitting .258, 6 homers, 29 runs batted in, 0 for 4 last night. Harvey will give the relievers a chance to get heated up. It'll be Don Hood. The scheduling department from Lordstown, Ohio. Jim, Jerry, Dick, Rich, and Lou are all here tonight. I think that's the Dieters, Holmans, and Joneses of Strasburg and New Philadelphia all made it safe to the game. Want their wives, father and mother, to know that they are here. Also, from Wilmington, North Carolina, Sean, Fanny, and Frank Moore rooting for the Tribe. And Jason Marston, a little leaguer from Miami, Oklahoma. Great Indians fan at the game today rooting for the Tribe, and is also celebrating his 11th birthday. So, happy birthday, Jason. Well, here's the boomer. First pitch to Scott. Curveball, strike of these, strike 1. Don Hood in the bullpen. Red Sox have scored 4 times in the first inning. There's still only 1 out. Scott stepping back. And happy, I believe, with the call by the home plate umpire, Jim McKeon. Dwight Evans on deck. Moving Manning almost straight away now in center field for Scott. A stretch. Strike 1 pitch. Scott wraps the ball up the middle, blanks the shortstop, flips to Kuiper 1, back to first, double play, and the inning goes. 6-4-3 on the twin killing, but the Red Sox go to work early. 4 runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, and a man left. And at the end of 1/2 inning of play, it is Boston 4, and the Indians are coming to bat. Dennis Eckersley making his 18th start, second against the Indians. In his first start, he was not involved in the decision. A 10-7 loss in extra innings. He went 6 innings, gave up 11 hits and 5 earned runs. His last start, July 3rd against the Yankees, he was a winner 9-5 and going 8 innings. Joe Nosek coaching at third. Rocky Colavito at first, and Rick Manning steps in. Rick, a left-hand batter, 266, 2 homers, 27 RBIs, 3 for 5 last night with 4 runs batted in. Birthday greetings are in order to Denise and Dan Urig of North Ridgeville. Denise will be 18 years young on July 25th, and Dan will be 11 on Monday, July 10th. And they're here tonight with Sister Dawn and Father Bill, rooting for the Tribe. So happy birthday, one and all. Pitch, strike at the knees to Manning. Strike 1. Scott at first, Remy at second, Duffy at short, Brohammer at third. Yaz in left, Lynn in center, Evans in right. Pitch high and outside, and the count is even at a ball and a strike. Fisk catching, and Eckersley on the mound. Eckersley looks in for the sign. Here's the windup. 1-1 pitch. Rick chops the ball fouled off his leg, and the count is 1-2. I have a note here from Dave Montanaro. Says he would like us to keep him and other Central Ohio fans posted on the doings of the Columbus Clippers. So as those scores come down the wire and we have opportunities, we will let you know how the Clippers are playing ball. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Manning. Line drive, right field, base hit. Over to get it is Evans, and the Indians have the leadoff man on. Eckersley gives up a leadoff single to Rick Manning. Johnny Grubb, the batter. Now they'll look over the baseball. I have a nice note here from Dave Seibert from Brook Park. He was down in Chattanooga, Herb, and brought back a newspaper that you probably might like to see. It's a nice article on Chris Bando's arrival in Double-A ball. We thank him for the thought and the newspaper. Eckersley will work from the stretch with Manning at first base and nobody out in the first inning. Sox lead 4-0. Pitch to Johnny Grubb, a strike of the letters, strike 1. Jim Register and his wife Georgia and Jack Alleman, diehard Indian fans from Toledo, are in here for the weekend, rooting for the Tribe, and we're happy to have them. A stretch. Strike one, pitch to Grubb. Johnny wraps the ball back to the second baseman. Up on the good hop to Duffy. One, back to first. Bad throw. Scott missed the tag try. Manning is out. Grubb at first for the fielder's choice. One away in the first inning. It's Buddy Bell. Bell hitting .296, 3 homers, 32 RBIs, 1 for 5 last night. Buddy fifth in the American League with 19 doubles and third with 6 triples. Incidentally, Johnny Grubb, who's been hitting hard luck lately, now hit safely in 4 straight games. He's also tied for 8th in the American League with 4 triples. He's aboard with 1 out on a fielder's choice. Andre Thornton on deck. 4-0 Boston. Stretch by Eckersley. And the pitch to Buddy Bell. High pop fly ball, short center field. Lynn starts in, stops and waits and makes the catch. 2 outs. This brings on Andre Thornton. Andy hitting .270, 15 homers, 46 RBIs, 1 for 4 last night with a run scored. He has hit safely in his last 5 games with 8 hits and 19 at-bats. He's 5th in the league with 51 runs scored, 3rd in walks with 49, 7th in on-base percentage, and 8th in slugging, and 9th with those 15 homers. Bernie Cabo on deck. Eckersley looks in for the sign. Here's the stretch. And the pitch. Thornton takes a strike. Strike one, throw to first, Grubb back to the bag. Boston got rolling early. Remy walked. Bullhammer tripled him home with 1 out. Yaz walked. Fitz slammed a 3-run homer. 4 runs on 2 hits in the first inning. Dennis Eckersley working on his former teammates. Here's the stretch. And the pitch. Andy pops a foul back into the upper deck, and the count is strike 2. All half of the first inning. Eckersley wearing number 43 on the back of his gray Boston uniform. Thornton, all set. Bozak gets the sign from Fisk. Stretch, checks Grubb. 2-strike pitch to Thornton. Andy checks swing, checked it, I think, in time, yes. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They gave a quick check of the first base umpire, Greg Kosk, and he indicated that the check swing came in time. 2 outs, Grubb at first base. Stretch by Eckersley. And the 1-2 pitch. Thornton swings and misses, striking out.
Pretty good fastball that time.
So in the first inning of play, no runs been hit with a man left. We've played 1 at the stadium. And it is Boston 4, Cleveland nothing. Clyde Evans in the second inning, leading off for the Boston Red Sox against Paxton, and he takes a strike at the knees, strike 1. Evans hitting .290, 16 homers, 39 RBIs. 0 for 2 last night. He walked a couple of times. Over his last 11 games, he's hit safely in 9 of them, .324 average, and is slugging 54% for the year. The pitch. Curveball, bang down the third base line, glove behind the bag by Bell. Long throw across. He is out. Evans bouncing to the third baseman, 1 away in the second inning. Brings on Frank Duffy, the shortstop. Duffy, a right-hand batter, .294, 1 run batted, and 0 for 4 against Cleveland. He's had 10 hits and 34 bats. Get a station break to you here as soon as we can. We are blessed by an overload of goodies tonight, and Bruce Fine is helping us out. Pitch to Duffy, slider, strike 1. It is soon to be Bruce who is overloaded with goodies. The man's got a great move to the cookies, brownies. Here's the pitch. Duffy swinging a miss, strike 2. You know, there's some guys that are either right-handed or left-handed. When it comes to the trough, Bruce is ambidextrous. He goes with both hands. Look in for the sign. Paxton with a 2-strike count on Duffy. Wind up and the pitch, and Frank takes strike 3. Good pitch, caught the outside corner. Duffy caught looking. That is the second strikeout for Paxton. There are 2 outs in the second inning, and the batter is Jerry Remy. Remy started off the 4-run first inning with a walk. Rode home on Brohammer's triple. Pitch is a strike, with the letters strike 1. You know, at this time of the year, Herb, with the All-Star break coming up, you're liable to see just about anybody come in and pitch in relief.
That's right. Managers now, they know they have 3 off days coming up, and they'll use them all.
Strike 1 pitch. Bouncing ball, first base line. Diaz gets it in the high hop, flips down to Thornton. Remy is out of the side, is retired. 3 up, 3 down. The end of an inning and a half. Boston 4, Cleveland nothing. Bernie Carbo, designated hitter, hitting .264, 1 homer, 9 runs batted in, 1 for 5 last night with an RBI. Bernie hitting .264 on the year and .269 as an Indian with 3 runs batted in. Now, time called. Carbo with something in the corner of his eye steps back just as Eckersley got ready to work. Red Sox 4 runs, 2 hits. The Indians no runs, 1 hit. Here's the pitch to Carbo. Wraps it right back to Remy, the second baseman. Picks it up, throws to first. Carbo's out, 1 down in the second inning. And this brings to bat Jimmy Norris, the right fielder. Norris, .256, 1 homer, 14 RBIs, 2 for 4 last night with 2 runs scored. And Piper on deck. Let's get that station break in right after this pitch, so stay loose. As soon as the first pitch comes home, we'll slip in a station break that we owe you.
This is the sports power of Northeast. This is 3WJ, Central Ohio's home for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Browns, and Indians. WWJ, Johnstown.
Count on Norris is even at a ball and a strike. Lined up by Eckersley, and the 1-1 pitch to Norris. Breaking ball low, and the count is 2-1. Remy, second baseman, back on the edge of the outfield grass. Duffy deep at short. Third baseman Brohammer into the cut of the grass at third. Wind up, 2-1 pitch. Norris hits a fly ball to left field. Yastrzemski is there and makes the catch. 2 outs. Dwayne Kuiper steps in. Dwayne hitting .252 with 18 RBIs, 1 for 3 last night with an RBI and a run scored. And we had a note here from Rice Wiles. He tells us that the other night when Dwayne found the 5-leaf clover and had you tape it by his name in the scorebook, says 5-leaf clovers are bad luck.
Somebody should have told that to Dwayne.
Well, he should have known. He went 0 for 4. Check that out. So he says, no more 5-leaf clovers, please. Wind up at a pitch to Kuiper. Dwayne hits a fly ball then to short left center. Lynn going over, now coming in, gets under, makes the catch, and it's 3 up, 3 down, and Eckersley's retired 6 men in a row. The end of 2 innings of play in tonight's first game. Boston 4, Cleveland nothing.
And the 3WJ take you out to the ball game.
Remy with the first run of the ball game. Jack now with 14 RBIs in the year, and for Brohammer, that was his first 3-base hit. Scrappy Jack. Wind up. Pitch to the hammer. Swing and a chop foul over into the first base dugout. Strike 1. Brohammer, left-hand batter. Had a good visit with him on the pregame show this evening. Wind up by Paxton on the strike 1 pitch to Hammer. He slaps one on the ground. Kuiper back of the grass, gobbles it up, flip to Paxton, hammers out, and there's 1 down in the third. Brings up Jim Rice. Rice struck out swinging against Paxton in the first inning. 4-0 Boston. Toronto whitewashed the White Sox today, 3-0 in Chicago before better than 28,000 fans.
Yeah, both of them have been getting some good pitching.
Yeah, they have now won their last 3. Wind up on the pitch. Rice swinging a miss. Strike 1. On 2 hits for Boston. No runs, 1 hit for the Indians. Paxton shakes his head at the sign from Diaz, and Jim Rice steps back. Now steps back in. Wind up, strike one pitch. Way outside and high. The count is 1-1. For you tennis aficionados, Bjorn Borg wiped out Jimmy Connors today at Wimbledon, 6-2, 6-2, 6-3. Joe Tate wiped out Bill Wilder, 6-4, 6-0, 6-4. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss on the changeup. The count is 1-2. Jim Rice, the batter. Wind up by Paxton. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Rice swing and a miss. Struck him out again.
He's going to let that slide it down and away.
Third strikeout for Paxton. Brings on Yastrzemski. Yaz walked and rode home on the fifth home run in the first inning of play. Philadelphia starts it off with a run in the first inning against Montreal. First of a twilight doubleheader in the city of brotherly love. Not sure how they came up with that title, but that's what they call it. Pitch. Curve. Strike one. Look in for the sign by the right-hander Paxton. The pitch. Yes, chops the ball foul over to the far end of the first base dugout, and the count is strike two. Oh, you talk about a beautiful night for baseball. This is it.
It sure is.
The banner out in the upper deck at left field says, "Give us heck, Eck." Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Yes, takes outside. 1-2 strikes. A number of Frank Duffy's fan clubbers are obviously still in town. His name prominently mentioned, along with Eckersley on some of the banners. 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2 strikes. Top half of the third inning, 2 outs and nobody on. The Red Sox lead 4-0. They did all that damage in the first inning. 2-2 pitch. Curveball floats outside. Full count of 3-2. Mike Paxton waiting while Yastrzemski gets squared away in the batter's box. Here comes the payoff pitch. Long drive, right field. It is gone. Same shot as last night's home run in the ninth.
Just a line drive.
Well, that looked like an instant replay of last night's home run. His ninth home run of the year. 5-0.
I think that fellow at 38 years old is not having a pretty good year.
Carlton Fisk, he bashed a 3-run shot of the first inning.
It's only the third hit of Mike Paxton.
But the hits have been a triple and 2 home runs. Paxton looking in. Fisk's 11th in the first inning with 2 men on was the 100th home run of the year for the Red Sox. Wind up in a pitch to Carlton Fisk, high, ball 1. Pitch to Carlton, a slider strike, and the count is 1-1. Boston 5-0 in the top of the third. Paxton winds up, 1-1 pitch. Fisk swings and chops it foul back to the screen. Count goes to 1-2 strikes. Montreal ties up the Phillies 1-1 in the second inning. Look for the sign. Here's the windup and the 1-2 pitch to Fisk. Swing and a miss, struck him out. 1 run, 1 hit, the home run by Yastrzemski, and nobody left. At the end of 2.5 innings of play, Boston 5 and Cleveland 0. Blanks Diaz at the top of the order Manning in the third inning. 5-0 Boston. Eckersley has been supported by the long ball tonight. Dennis with a 9-2 record, 4 complete games in his 17 previous starts, 3.21 ERA. He's given up 136 and 129 innings, but 52 runs, 46 earned. He is still a real candidate to give up the long ball. He's surrendered 18 of them thus far this year, but he struck out 62 and walked 35. Lavel Blanks, a late entry in the lineup when Tommy Verizon could not answer the bell for the first game due to that wrist. Was hit again last night. Blanks, however, has been hitting well, 253, 2 homers, 16 RBIs. He's hit safely in his last 4 ball games with 7 hits and 11 at-bats. He's hitting .308 against Boston with 6 runs batted in. Pitch to Blanks, high, ball 1. Bo Diaz on deck. Boston 5 runs on 3 hits. The Indians no runs, 1 hit. Eckersley winds up. Pitch to Blanks. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's that slider that really breaks and just keeps going. Dennis does not seem to be throwing as hard as we've seen him in other games, but still throwing pretty good.
Wind up and the 1-1 pitch to Blanks. Lavel takes a strike at the letters 1 and 2. Well, everybody that I've talked to with the Red Sox, Herb, have all said one thing. He is now more of a pitcher and less of a thrower.
Exactly.
1-2 pitch to Lavel, way outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fisk stepping out in front of the plate, gets the ball back to Eckersley. Lined up by Eckersley, 2-2 pitch. Lavel swings and misses, struck him out. Well, that is the second strikeout for Eckersley. Some of the fans, I think, are unhappy because Verizon is not in the lineup, but there's been no mention made to the fans here that Tommy couldn't play. Got the bad wrist, bad arm. He sure played last night, though.
He sure did.
Bo Diaz his first at bat against his former organization, the Red Sox. He's hitting .200 on the year with 1 run batted in. Wind up and the pitch, and Diaz swings and misses, strike 1. Reiser getting treatment on that arm, and he may or may not see action in the second game. Here's the strike 1 pitch to Diaz. Fastball inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Boston with 4 in the first and 1 in the third. Indians still looking. 1-1 pitch to Diaz. Drive, left field. Yastrzemski coming on, and the ball drops for a hit. Bounces over Yaz, who falls down. One backing up on it, gets the ball. Now Diaz halfway between second and first goes back as the throw comes all the way into Scott.
Indians get their second hit, and the fellow who had the first one, Rick Manning, at the plate now.
Diaz drops a single into left field. Manning single to right in the first inning of play. Five to nothing Boston in the third inning. Len moves over to straightaway in center field. A stretch. And the first pitch to Manning, swing and a miss, strike 1. Ball in and out of the mid of Fisk, but right at the plate. Time call now as Manning strolls off to the right. Alvin Fisk taking off the mask. Getting himself regrouped behind home plate. Eckersley looks in and gets the sign. Here's the stretch. Strike 1 pitch to Manning. Rick takes strike 2 with the knees. Johnny Grubb on deck. Eckersley ready again. Diaz leading at first. Scott playing behind him. Pitch to Manning. Wraps it into the hole. Grabbed by Remy. Spins and throws out to second base to get Diaz, and a fine play.
Sure was.
Manning on with a fielder's choice.
And Jerry Remy, one of the better second basemen around. He can move.
Johnny Grubb, a fielder's choice to Remy in the first inning of play. Remy does one thing about as well as anybody that I've seen play recently, and that is throw wild in the air. Belanger is another guy that has just a great arm when he seems to be totally off balance. Right. Yeah. Well, the batter, Johnny Grubb, 0 for 1 on the night. Eckersley looking in for the sign. A stretch. And the pitch. Outside, ball 1. The moment Eckersley, or I should say Johnny Grubb, is hitting .235. Stretch by Eckersley. The pitch to Grubb. John takes inside. Fisk off to his right to flag down the breaking ball. The count is ball 2. Fox got 4 in the first. An RBI triple by Brohammer and a 3-run homer by Fisk. And Yastrzemski slapped his 9th into the seats in right in the third inning of play. 5-0 Boston in the home half of the third. Stretch of the pitch to Johnny Grubb. Low. Ball 3. On deck is Buddy Bell. Eckersley looking in again. Here's the stretch. And the 3-0 pitch. Grubb takes high, ball 4. Indians have 2 on with 2 out. Eckersley has now struck out 2 and walked 1. Buddy Bell hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning of play. Fisk and Eckersley to the mound for a chat. Minnesota 6-0 over Oakland in the 4th inning. Erickson looks like a pretty good bet for his 10th win of the year this afternoon out there in Oakland. Last night, incidentally, Minnesota took both ends of that doubleheader, 3-2 and 1-0. Darrell Jackson, a youngster they brought up recently, threw a 3-hitter in the nightcap, struck out 6. Langford took the loss, gave up a hit and then a fly ball to center field, and Joe Wallace did everything but eat the ball. Parlayed it into an error, a 3-base error that allowed the only run of the game to score. Stretch by Eck and the pitch to Bell, and Buddy takes on outside, ball 1. Time called. Al Jackson, the pitching coach, going to trot out to the mound, had a little chat with Eckersley. Manning at second, Grubb at first. They're there with a fielder's choice and a walk and 2 outs. Sunglasses being thrown off the field by the second baseman, Jerry Remy. Shadows now extend back to the edge of the outfield on the first base side. Well, Buddy Bell waiting with a 1-0 count. Jackson has had his chat with Eckersley. To go to work again. Look for the sign. A stretch. 1-0 pitch to Buddy. Bell takes the strike. 1-1.
I guess we're getting that slider over.
Manning at second, Grubb at first, pitch to Bell, high fly ball to right. Evans coming over toward the foul line, getting under the ball, and makes the catch to retire the side. No runs and a hit with a walk and 2 men left. At the end of 3 innings of play, it is Boston 5, Cleveland nothing. Number 4 with Herb score.
Thank you, Joe, and hi again, everybody. The Indians trail 5-0. It'll be Freddie Lynn, George Scott, and Dwight Evans looking at Mike Paxton. Mike gave up 4 runs in the first inning, 1 in the third. That's the story. Home runs by Fisk, a 3-run shot, solo shot by Yastrzemski. Fastball at the knee, strike. Freddie Lynn in the game has been the bat once. He has walked, so officially he has not been the bat. Batting average of .326. Line drive, right field, solid base hit. Oh, he reached down after a breaking ball and lashed it. And then with his first hit, that is only the fourth hit for the Boston Red Sox. George Scott wrapped into a double play.
John Hood starts to warm up again for the Indians.
Out to the mound goes Bo Diaz. Ronnie Pesky coaching at first for the Red Sox. Third base side, Eddie Yost. Both those fellows outstanding infielders in their playing days. George Scott, batting average, .256. He has hit 6 home runs with 24 runs batted in. Indians playing very deep and just about straight away because George has a good opposite field power. Curveball sweeps over the outside corner above the knees, a strike. Scott looking at the third base coach, Eddie Yost. Strike one pitch. High. Ball one and a strike. Ron Hood up for the second time in the bullpen. He was up during the first inning. On deck is Dwight Evans. One pitch. Inside, leans it back with a fastball, 2-1. Two balls and a strike. Scott stands way back in the bat. His boxing is a long way from home plate. He has those long arms, and he can get out over that outside corner very easily. Throw back to first safely. One pitch. Scott checks his swing. The slide is over the outside part of the plate, 2-2. We missed a birthday back on July the 2nd. The reason we missed it, we just got the postcard. Must have come by Pony Express. William Bloom of Warren, Ohio, celebrated a birthday and saw a little late Bill. Understand he's quite a softball player. Plays for a team down in Wyndham, Ohio. His mom, Mrs. Bloom, sent us a little note. Well, a belated happy birthday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott checks his swing. Strike 3 call. Slider over the outside part of the plate. 5 strikeouts for the right-hander, Mike Paxton. 1 out in the 4th inning with Lynn at first, and here's Dwight Evans. Rounded out to Buddy Bell his first time up. Evans, slightly closed stance. He's really crouching more than he used to, seems to me. Fastball, let a high strike inside part of the plate. Indians playing the pull. Manning 4 or 5 steps to the left of center. One strike pitch. He's going to bunt third base side. Off the mound, Paxton grabs it. Throws to first just in time. On to second base goes Lynn. They'll call out a sacrifice, but he was not bunting for a sacrifice. He was bunting for base hit.
Sacrifice, 1-3.
Buddy Bell was back at third. He was trying to dump it down that way. He got it too close to the mound. 1-3 on the sacrifice. On the second base, Freddie Lynn, and here's Frank Duffy. Frank took a call third strike his first time up. Former member of the Indians. Batting average of .286. Good possibility Frank will play in the second game as well, and probably at second base. Paxton delivers. Down low, ball 1.
Tell you, if that lineup card that Zimmer put up in the dugout holds water for the second game, we're going to see a lot of new faces.
Yes. The Red Sox have had a long schedule. They'd like to give a few fellas some time off. There's a strike over the inside corner. 1 ball and a strike. 2 men gone, 4th inning. Red Sox 5, Indians nothing. This is the first of a twilight doubleheader. Akron night. Lots of folks from Akron up this way, and also Farmers night. Curveball, line to left field. Over goes Grubb. Can't get to it. A base hit around third. On the score comes Freddie Lynn. The throw to home plate is cut off. Throw to second base, and they have Duffy. 7-5-4 on the score. 7-5-6 goes blanks, put the tag on. A base hit for Duffy. He gets the run batted in, his second of the year. And he's out at second base. 7-5-6. Good play by Buddy, cutting that ball off. Red Sox, however, pick away again, get a run. 2 hits, no errors, nobody left. We have played 3.5 in the stadium. The score, Red Sox 6, the Indians nothing. Well, we go now into the last half of the 4th inning. The Indians have some work to do. They trail 6-0. Andre Thornton, Bernie Carbo, Jim Norris come up against Dennis Eckersley. Eckersley has struck out 2, he's walked 1, and the Indians have had a pair of base hits off him. And his teammates have provided him with a pretty good cushion. Andre Thornton, his first time up, he went swinging. Andre Thornton with 15 home runs, 46 runs batted across. A wind-up and the pitch. Fastball outside, ball 1. Eckersley rocks into the windup. Check swing on that sweeping curveball. 1 ball, 2 balls, no strikes. Ball off the outside corner. Umpire at home plate, Jim McKeon, says he did not go around. Andy Thornton asks for time and gets it. In center field, Freddie Lynn fairly deep and just slightly around to the left side of center. Hits the bat and is off to the right, foul. Andre was checking his swing. The ball was inside. It hit the bat. 2 balls and a strike. Andre's batting average been moving up the last couple of days. Square stance. Here's the pitch. Inside, spins out of the way. Right up around the shoulders. 3 balls and a strike. 6-0. Red Sox lead the Indians. They scored 4 times in the first inning. 3 of those came in on Carlton Fisk's home run, his 11th of the year. Long drive, left field. Down in the corner goes Yastrzemski, near the wall, near the foul line. He grabs it. 1 step from the wall at the 320 mark and about a half a step in fair territory. Andre had it going in the right direction, but just not enough oomph. 1 man down, 4th inning. Bernie Carbo the batter. Wrapped the ground ball at second base his first time up. Carbo, a former member of the Red Sox. They'll not play him the pull. They put Lynn a couple of steps to the left of center. Bouncing ball foul, first base side, rolling over in front of the Indian dugout. Rocky Colavito out of the coach's box to pick it up. Strike 1. Dennis Eckersley has the sign. He winds and he throws. Curveball down too low. Ball 1 and a strike. Eckersley definitely not throwing as hard as he did when he was with the Indians. Joe mentioned a while ago, Dennis can still throw hard, but he is learning to pace himself and make big, good pitches. Swing and miss on the changeup. Good changeup. Will Snyder of Crestline, Ohio, celebrating a birthday today. He's here with a group of 5 other people. He's a great Indian fan, and so we certainly want to wish him a very happy birthday. Bill Snyder from Crestline, Ohio, the Big C. Brown too low. Ball 2, strike 2. The home of Geach Brown. Bernie Carbo. Doing some walking around the home plate area. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Only 2 players in the sunshine now. Center field of Freddie Lynn, right field of Dwight Evans. And the right field is really a tough field for the right fielder now. Pass ball is up too high. He's staring right into that sun as he looks at home plate. 3-2. Wind up. Dennis delivers. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on a lead-high fastball. Carbo a strikeout victim. That is the 3rd for Eckersley. Pretty good fastball that time. And the batter, Jimmy Norris. Jimmy flies to left field his first time up. Batting average for Jim, 256 when he started. He's at about 254 now, I would think. He is, 254. At third base, Brohammer comes into the cut of the grass. Wayne Kuiper on deck. Curveball, slips it over the outside corner, strike. Dennis Eckersley taking a little bit off that curveball now and then. It's been effective. Also on his fastball, he turns it over to the left hand and makes it a sinker. Fastball popped up behind shortstop. Out goes Duffy. On comes Freddie Lynn, and Duffy calls and takes. Indians go out 1, 2, 3 in the 4th inning. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. In the 4 innings in the first game of the doubleheader here at the stadium, the Boston Red Sox 6, the Cleveland Indians nothing.
Columbus 4-3-2-1-6.
Left-hander Don Hood coming to the mound, making his 2nd relief appearance of the year. He has made 16 starts, a total of 96 and 2/3 innings. He has 108 hits, 56 runs, 53 of them earned, given up 8 homers, struck out 44 and walked 48. Hood with a 4-win, 4-loss record and a 4.93 earned run average. And against the Boston Red Sox, he made 1 start, went 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, struck out 2, walked 5, and had no record in the game. And there's something wrong with the mound.
And ground crew running on to the field. They'll replace a few of those divots that they've taken out of the mound in front of the pitching rubber. Don Hood will be working. Hood telling us the other day after his relief appearance in Detroit, and in that particular game he worked very rapidly. He said he's going back to the way he pitched in high school. Just get the ball and throw it. Umpires meeting at the mound also, looking over the work of Marshall Bossett and one of his aides. And we're good now. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, it's bat day at the stadium, and we've had a couple of the bats they delivered up here to us. They're very nice-looking bats made by the Adirondack Company. They're official Little League bats, and Indians players' names on the bats, and I don't think you get to select what players' bats you get, but any that you get will be a very nice present for some youngster. Fans 14 and under tomorrow when they come to the stadium, with the exception of those that come through the bleachers, will receive the Little League bat. And there should be a good crowd on here, and don't worry, there are plenty of bats for you. That's 2 o'clock tomorrow. Actually, game time 2:05.
Mike Paxton went the first 4 innings, gave up 5 hits, including 2 homers and a triple, 6 runs all earned, struck out 5, and walked 4.
And for Don Hood, he will take a look at the top of the batting order for the Red Sox. Red Sox will have Remy, Brohammer, and Rice. Between games of this doubleheader, they're going to take 30 minutes between games, and going to be some field contests, a cow milking contest, an egg tossing contest. That'll be between players of both sides. Steve Franklin's going to MC that affair. Also, there'll be some special awards and prizes given throughout these ball games.
I know the Indians are going to go with Harvey Haddix and Paul Rushell in the milking. Who's going to throw the eggs?
I know that Bernie Carlo and Ron Pruitt are going to be one team, and I think there'll be a couple of others. We have not been given a list yet.
Well, I would think that Paul Rushell from Camp Point, Illinois, ought to have a good pull.
He said he has done it before, but it's been 15 years. Don Hood ready to go against Jerry Remy. He has walked. He's 0 for 1. Strike over the outside corner.
That's just like riding a bicycle.
Never forget, huh?
That's right.
Well, Dwayne Kuiper's done it the last couple of years, but he's not doing it. Swing and a miss on the curve, strike two.
Brady might pull a muscle.
No, he said that actually, the funny thing, he said the last time he did it, he said it was 3 innings before his forearms relaxed. He said they were so tight. He said like spasms. 2 strikes. Up too high, ball 1. Well, and boy, your dad is going to be a little upset. There he is, an old farm boy, and he's not going to be in the contest tonight.
Henry's got the machine.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Jerry Remy. Hoots pitch to him. Fastball, strike 3 over the outside corner. Oh, that is the 6th strikeout by Indian pitching tonight. First for Don Hood. 1-man yard, and here's Jack Brohammer. Brohammer tripled in the first inning after Remy had walked. Brohammer slammed the triple up the alley in left center field. That drove Remy home. And Rice struck out. Yastrzemski intentionally walked, and Fisk hammered the home run. 6-0. Red Sox lead it. Fastball missed outside, ball 1. Well, true to his word, Don Hood is wasting no time. He gets that ball, and he's ready. Foul ball at home plate.
I'm certainly not an expert on pitching by any sense of the imagination, but I really think this is going to help Hood if he does work more rapidly. I felt sometimes the way that he labored out there that he was his own worst enemy.
Well, most pitchers are better off working quickly because they stay in a rhythm.
And the defense stays with you, too.
1 ball and a strike. Sidearm curve, sweeps outside. 2 balls and a strike. Well, a lot of times what happens, the pitcher gets out there and he has too much time to think. He backs off and he's worrying about this and worrying about that. Where he just gets up on a amount of throws, you avoid a lot of that. Line drive, right field. Jimmy Norris looking up to the sun, reaches up and grabs it. Well, that is a tough position right now, right field, with that sun glaring you right in the face. 2 up, 2 down, and Jim Rice will be the batter. He has twice been a strikeout victim. Mike Paxton on the mound those 2 appearances. And now Mike is out of the ball game. Those 4 innings gave up 6 runs on 5 hits, 3 walks, and he struck out 5. Mike just never had a chance to get his feet on the ground tonight. Once he got out of the first inning, he pitched pretty well. Here's Jimmy Rice, a 23 home run man at this point in the year. 74 runs batted in, and he looks for a curve low, ball 1. Batting average of .320. Just a halfway point for the Red Sox in their season. Game number 81. Indians playing in game number 83. Ball 1. The fly ball down the right field line. Long run for Norris. Still going. He's getting near the foul line. Can't get. Ball drops. Hits the corner. Rice in the second. He'll go for third and make it easily. Second straight day that Rice has had a triple against the Indians. They've both been down the right field line. And you can see why he has 12 triples if he's done that very often. As they play him around to pull the ball. And when you drop one inside the right field foul line, you're going to be able to run for a long time, and that's exactly what he did. 12 triples, and he leads the league in that department. First hit off Don Hood.
Yastrzemski, with his 3rd inning home run, has now passed Rocky Colavito with 375 career homers.
And Yastrzemski's had 2 home runs in 2 days here. Checks the swing, the fastball at the knees, inside part of the plate, a strike. Rice at third. 2 men down, 5th inning. First game of the doubleheader. Red Sox 6, Indians nothing. Wind up, Don Hood delivers. Sidearm curve, a swing and a miss. He fooled him completely. Dropped down sidearm and slipped that curveball over the outside part of the plate. 2 strikes. Minnesota belting Oakland today, 6-0 at the end of 3.
Look at this.
Line drive, left field. That's going to be a base hit. Danny Gwebb plays on the first bounce, and Rice trots home. The Red Sox pick up another run. They lead 7-0. Well, I told this Red Sox ball club, you could run it in scoring position, and they get them home. First run, second hit off Hood. Here's Carlton Fisk. Well, I told you Minnesota was belting Oakland. No longer. Oakland came up with 3 in the 4th inning, 4 in the 5th. It's now 7-6 Oakland. They have played 5. Carlton Fisk, he's homered, he's struck out. Ground ball sharply hit up the middle into center field, a base hit. Yastrzemski gets to second, he'll hang on there. Well, after Don Hood retired the first 2 men that he faced, Red Sox have jumped on it for 3 straight hits. And here's Freddie Lynn. Freddie Lynn has walked. He is single to right field, and out to the mound goes Bo Diaz. Bo Diaz having a little conference with Don Hood. Now heads back. Got a group of 30 members of the Howland, Ohio Fire Department. Well, we welcome you here to the ballpark. Now Buddy Bell goes over to chat with Hood. And umpire Jim McKeon starts out in that direction, but Buddy breaks up the meeting. Freddie Lynn, his batting average at .328. As a team, Red Sox are hitting .283. Red Sox with 7 runs, 8 hits in this game. Hood delivers. Down low, good stop by Diaz. Yastrzemski at second, Fisk at first. 2 men out. We are in the 5th inning. Fastball, side-armed it over the outside corner for strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Second game, David Clyde for the Indians. Jim Wright will go for the Red Sox. He's a right-hander. 1-1 pitch. Side-on curve, swung on a miss, strike 2. The on-deck batter, George Scott. So when you go through this Red Sox lineup, it doesn't get easier from man to man. And Butch Hobson not even with the Red Sox this trip. He's got a bad leg. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the side-on curve. Well, Don Hood chalks up 2 strikeouts in the 5th inning. But the Red Sox pick up a run on 3 hits. No Indian errors and 2 men left. The first 2 men that they have left on base tonight. And at the middle of the 5th inning, the score here in Cleveland. Boston 7, Cleveland nothing. Well, we go now into the last half of the 5th inning for the Indians. Bottom third of the batting order, Kuiper, Blanks, and Diaz come up against Dennis Eckersley, and Dennis has been tough. He has limited the Indians to 2 hits. He has struck out 3, and he's walked 1. And his teammates have provided Dennis with a very nifty cushion, driven runs. Wayne Kuiper flying to center field his only time up. Indian second baseman and co-captain. No home runs, 18 runs batted in. He's sitting at .251. Marvell Blanks comes on deck. At third base, Brohammer pulled in on the grass. Bouncing ball foul hits the roof of the Indian dugout, goes in the seats. A couple of years ago was Jack Brohammer and Dwayne Kuiper battling for the second base job. Ultimately, the job went to Kuiper. Brohammer went to the Chicago White Sox. Last year became a free agent. He has signed a very lucrative contract with the Boston Red Sox, and he's really delighted. 1 strike pitch. Curveball up too high. 1 ball and a strike. We'll be sending along a station break to you as soon as we find out what happens to Dwayne Kuiper in this at-bat. Wind up, 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on the slider, strike 2. Tomorrow afternoon, Rick Wise will be going against his former teammates. One-two pitch. Line drive, right field, base hit. Dwayne Kuiper gets the hit. He makes the turn at first and hangs on. Dwight Evans up with the ball. Third hit for the Indians. Nobody out in the fifth inning, and Larvell blanks the batter.
Herb, the city of Chicago was shut out today. The Mets blanked the Cubs 7-0, and Toronto stopped the White Sox 3-0.
And not very often on the same day. How about that Oakland? 3 runs in the fourth inning, 4 in the fifth, and they have taken a 7-6 lead over the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota didn't change pitches according to the wire.
I'm sure they did.
I would have to think so.
Oakland is one of those shaky places where they just don't give you the relief pitchers a lot of times.
The pitch to Blanks, he bunts it out in front of the mound. Picked up by Eckersley, flips to first. On the second goes Kuiper. 1-3 on the out. Again, they'll probably score out of the sacrifice, although technically that's what it was, but he's not sacrificing when you're 7 runs behind. He's bunting for a base hit. And the bat is going to be Gary Alexander. He's going to hit for Bo Diaz. No sacrifice on that last play, they tell us. Oh, it was wrong again.
You were right, but you were wrong in your guesses to the official score.
I'm wrong a lot. Anyway, Gary Alexander's going to come up. Bo Diaz, while he was in the game, was 1 for 1. Gary Alexander for the Indians is batting .287 with 7 home runs and 23 RBIs in 24 games. Overall, he's hitting .234 with 17 home runs and 45 RBIs. Right-hand hitting Gary Alexander with Kuiper at second. And the batter steps in. Dennis Eckersley rubbing up the ball, looking around at his infield. On deck, Rick Manning. Indian crowd starts that rhythmic clapping. They want some action from their side. Eckersley sets and he throws. Breaking ball over the inside corner, let a high strike. Dennis with that sidearm motion. He throws that. He doesn't call it a slider. He calls it a slider, but it's really more like a curveball. Big sweeping job. He throws that sidearm motion. Right-hand hitter has to think it's coming from third base. And the pitch. Strike over the inside corner above the knees. Fastball. Gary not too happy with that call by umpire McKeon. And we promised you a station break, and we'll get it very quickly now. 2 strikes. 1 man down. 5th inning. Red Sox 7, Indians nothing. Two-strike pitch. Inside. Pulls back the tummy. And Paul is inside to start with, and then it moved in on him, and Gary just did get back in time. One ball, 2 strikes. Gary Alexander waits on Eckersley's pitch. Swing, a foul tip into the glove of Carlton Fisk, and he hangs on. Strike 3. Eckersley gets his 4th strikeout before Rick Manning gets to the plate. Let us pause for station identification.
This is 3WJ, Central Ohio Sports, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, Browns, and Indians. WWJ, Johnstown.
Rick Manning. He lined a single to right his first time up. Then he hit a ground ball to second that forced the runner. Manning, left-hand batter, facing Dennis Eckersley. Sinking fastball off the outside corner, low, ball 1. Eckersley checks the runner at second, delivers. Sidearm curve is lined, foul down the right side. Eckersley took a little off, and he threw that off-speed curveball from the side. Manning waited on it, but not quite long enough. He pulled the trigger just a shade too soon and lined it foul about 8 feet down the right field line. 1 ball and a strike. Kuipers at second base. We are in the 5th inning with 2 men gone. Eckersley takes a long time to get the sign that he wants, and Manning backs away. Fastball, strike over the outside corner, knee high. Ball 1 and strike 2. Not playing Rick to pull the ball. They have Yastrzemski around and left, just to a right-hand hitter up, and Freddie Lynn 4 or 5 steps to left center. Missed outside with a breaking pitch. 2-2. Eckersley, 6'2", about 190 pounds, and 23 years old. He has won 9 and lost 2 this year. Earned run average of 3.21. Off to what by far would be his best season if it keeps up this way. Fastball outside. 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. Rick Manning with Kuiper at second, Johnny Grubb on deck, 2 men down, and the Indians trail 7-0 here in the 5th inning. 3-2 pitch. Outside corner, call strike 3. Manning has started for first base, and he is in shock as McKeon says you're out. Eckersley gets his 5th strikeout. Indians in the 5th inning, no runs. 1 base hit, no errors, and a man left. End of 5, first game of the doubleheader. The score, the Indians, 0. The Red Sox, 7. Into the ball game, he's playing in right field. Jim Norris is out of the game. And Gary Alexander, who pinch hit for Bo Diaz, stays in to do the catching. Standing on the mound, Don Hood. He came on last inning. Pitched 1 inning. He's given up 1 run on 3 hits. Starting pitcher was Mike Paxton. He worked 4 innings, 6 runs on 5 hits. George Scott, Dwight Evans, Frank Duffy here in the 6th for the Red Sox. They lead 7-0. Don Hood winds it up. First pitch, a strike over the outside part of the plate, knee high. Hood checks the sign, winds and throws. Curveball drops over, strike 2. So Don Hood right out in front of George Scott. Hood struck out 2 last inning. Strike 3 call, curveball over the outside corner. So on 3 pitches, George Scott turns and walks away. 3rd strikeout for Hood, and the 8th by Indian pitching in this game. However, the score, Red Sox 7, Indians nothing. Dwight Evans, he is 0 for 1 with a sacrifice. Batting average at .289. Boston right fielder, one of the better defensive right fielders in the American League. Swing and a miss on a fastball strike. Hood works quickly. Changes up and is thrown inside. Ball 1, strike 1. On deck batter, Frank Duffy. Curveball line to right field. Horace Speed coming on. He grabs it. 2 up, 2 down. 3 straight pitches to Scott. He was called out on strikes. And now Dwight Evans line to right. Here's Frank Duffy. Duffy was called out on strikes in the 2nd inning. Lined a single to left, driving home a run in the 4th. His batting average up to .306. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Don Hood wastes no time. Next pitch. Looping fly ball, shallow right field. Speed coming on, reaches down. He makes the catch. Nice play by Horace Speed. No. Umpire at second base, Jerry Neudecker, says, no, you trapped the ball. Our Speed was already to the foul line running in. Speed now goes back and says, I caught that ball. Neudecker says you didn't. And here comes Jeff Torborg. It'll be a base hit for Duffy.
I'll say this, Neudecker was in a perfect spot to see it.
He was right out there. He had moved on to the outfield grass, and he was not too far away. Harris came running in, reached down, and scooped up the ball and kept coming. And from where we are, of course, you can't see that closely whether the ball hit the ground or not. It was very close. He picked it right off the top of the grass, and apparently, according to Neudecker, the ball did hit the ground. And so it goes as a hit. The 9th for the Red Sox, 4th off Don Hood. And here's Jerry Remy. Remy called on his strikes against Don Hood last time up. He was 0 for 2 in the game with a walk.
Frank Duffy's now hitting .333 on 12 for 36.
Don Hood checks on the runner at first. Line drive into the glove of Dwayne Kuipers. He tries the side. No runs on a hit, no errors, and one man left. At the middle of 6 here in the first game of the doubleheader, Red Sox 7, Cleveland nothing. Has gone through the first 5 innings without allowing an Indian run. He has struck out 5, he's walked 1, and he has been touched for 3 base hits. Johnny Webb will lead off on the scoreboard. One complete game, one score in the National League. The New York Mets shut out the Cubs today, 7-0. And in Chicago today, the Toronto Blue Jays shut out the White Sox 3-0. In the American League right now, at the end of 5, Oakland 7, Minnesota 6. National League, Montreal leads the Phillies 2-0 at the end of 4.5 in their first game. Wind up pitch by Eckersley. High fly ball, right center field. Out goes Lynn, over goes Evans. Evans calling, Lynn calling, and Lynn takes it on a warning path, and he and Evans brush together. And Freddie Lynn hangs on. One man down, a long drive to right center field. Buddy Bell has flied to center, he's flied to right. Buddy Bell, right-hand batter, is average of .294. On deck is Andre Thornton. 7-0, Red Sox lead. We're in the 6th. Slider, breaks slow, ball 1. There's Eckersley. Winds it up. Fastball swung on and tipped into the glove of the catcher. 1 ball and a strike. Eckersley ready quickly. High pop over the infield. Jerry Remy, the second baseman, backs up to the edge of the outfield grass. He makes the grab. 2 up, 2 down. And we'll see Andre Thornton, who's hitless in 2 tries. He has struck out. He's fly deep to left. And put Yastrzemski down in the left field corner about a step from the wall to grab it. 7-0, Red Sox lead. They've had 9 hits. The Indians with 3. It's been an airless ball game. Lined up, Dennis delivers. Line drive, left field. This could be. Back goes Yastrzemski. He's at the wall and he grabs it. Yastrzemski, right where the cement and the temporary fence join, was there. He leaped up and he caught it. Well, Andre Thornton is out, so the Indians 6th inning, 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. Dennis Eckersley has now retired the last 6, and at the end of 6, it's Boston 7, Cleveland nothing.
Top of the 7th inning, Brohammer, Rice, and Yastrzemski against Don Hood. Game's going tonight. Montreal 2-1 over Philadelphia in the first of 2. Fryman against Christensen, that's in the 5th. Dodgers 1-0 over Houston after 1 on the first of 2. Hooten against Bannister. San Francisco at Cincinnati in a single game out of Fusco against Norman. Later tonight, Pittsburgh at St. Louis. First of 2 in Atlanta. Atlanta 2, San Diego 1. Jones against Camp. Oakland 7-6 over Minnesota at the end of 5 in an afternoon game. Curveball to Brohammer is high, ball 1. They have now played a full 5 in Philadelphia with no change in the score. Montreal still leading 2-1. Wind up on the pitch. The curveball bounces in and off the glove of Alexander, and the count goes to ball 2. 2-0. Alexander going to the mound to talk to Hood. And ball game in Oakland, they have played 7, and it is still 7-6. Oakland leading. Tonight, Seattle at California for a twilighter. New York at Milwaukee, Baltimore at Kansas City, and Detroit at Texas in single games. 7-0 Boston in the top of the 7th. Wind up on the pitch to Brohamer. Chops the ball foul behind home plate, and the count is 2-1. Well, Mitch Troyer stopped in before the ball game with his brother to say, I wanted Melody to know they made it. Having a good time at the ballpark. But Mitch's dad along tonight. There's a drive off the bat of Brohamer foul. It'll be in the seats behind the bullpen dugout in the right field corner, and the count evens on Jack at 2-2. Thornton at first, Kuiper at second, Blanks at short, Bell at third, Grubb in left, Manning in center, Speed in right, Alexander catching, and the left-hander on the mound, Don Hood. Pitch to Brohamer outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sox with 4 in the first on a triple by Brohamer to drive in 1 and a 3-run shot by Fisk. Brohamer chops another foul back, and the count is still 3-2. Yaz homered in the third for a run. Duffy singled home a run in the 4th. Another hit by Fisk and another, well, actually it was a triple by Rice and a single by Yastrzemski that drove in a run on the 5th. That made it 7-0. Eckersley's given up 3 hits. Line drive foul on the curveball down to the ball boy. Mike Minch, the bat boy, the ball boy, Rick Minch, Rick Minch. Took that one hopper and sat right back in his chair. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hood ready. Here's the windup. Payoff pitch to Brohamer. Wraps the ball by Thornton into right field, a base hit. Brohamer with his second hit of the night. That is the 5th hit off Brohamer. There were 5 off Paxton, a total of 10 in the ball game. Jim Rice. Paxton struck him out twice. Fanned him in the first, fanned him again in the third, and then he tripled into the right field corner off Don Hood in the 5th and scored for 3 runs in this series. Boston 7 runs on 10 hits. The Indians no runs, 3 base hits. Thus far, Eckersley has been in command. The stretch, checks the runner, Hood throws to right, curveball, strike 1. Yastrzemski on deck. Farmers now to the ballpark, and there'll be a big fun and frolic between the games. Some agricultural competition between ball players. Rice takes a strike. The curveball, that one caught the outside corner above the knee, strike 2. Akron night here tonight. Farm Bureau, the state of Ohio, with his Galleon Day. The stretch. And the 2-strike pitch. Rice takes high and inside with a fastball. Went down to one knee, avoiding it. The count is 1-2. Second game tonight, David Clyde will oppose Jim Wright. Each pitcher making his first go at the opposing team. 1-2 pitch to Wright. Wrapped up the middle off the glove of Hood out into center field, a base hit. Brohamer headed for third as the ball slows up. Manning picks it up and throws back in. That was a line drive. Hood got some weather on it, but could do little more than slow it down. Ball went out into center field, and the Red Sox have runners at first and at third with nobody out in the 7th inning. Rice now has 5 hits and 9 at-bats in this series. 6 hits off Don Hood. Yastrzemski, a walk, a home run, and a single. 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Stretch by Don Hood, and the pitch Diaz, the curveball for a strike, strike 1. Carlton Fisk on deck. The stretch. Hood checks the runner, throw to Diaz. He swung and missed on that curveball, and the count is strike 2. 2 strikes the count. Stretch, pitch, swing and a miss. Struck him out.
Handled by Gary Alexander.
4 strikeouts for Don Hood, a total of 9 by Indian pitching in the game. Carlton Fisk slammed a 3-run homer into the seats and left in the first inning, struck out swinging against Paxton in the third, single to center field in the 5th inning against Hood. Fred Lynn on deck. Don Hood takes the long look. Here's the stretch. And the pitch. Fastball, strike of the knees, strike 1. Brohammer at third. Rice at first. The stretch, the pitch. Curveball, strike 2. Good looking in again. Just steps back for the moment. Now the big right-hand batter is ready again. The stretch. And the 2-strike pitch. Fastball rammed into left field. Drop going over into the gap. It gets by him going all the way to the 385 side. Brohammer scores. Rice scores. And Fisk at second base with a double.
And Carlton Fisk having himself a pretty good night there. So Fisk is 4th and 5th RBIs of the game. And last night, Rice had 5 RBIs to make it a club high for the year. So Fisk has just tied him in that department.
Now has 40 runs batted in for the year. It is a 9-0 ball game. Stretch by Hood. And the pitch to Lynn. Breaking ball low, ball 1. Sox with 4 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 2 in the 7th. Don Hood, looks like he's headed for China. He's digging a big hole out there.
The fella's got a pitch behind him is going to love him.
The stretch. 1-0 pitch to Freddie Lynn. The curveball is low, and the count is 2-0. Alexander picks up the ball, gets it back out to Don. Well, when these guys swing the lumber and get good pitching to back it up, they can just pound you right in the ground. This just has been no contest. Stretch. Look back, 2-0 pitch. Lynn looks at the curveball outside. The count is 3-0. The boomer is on deck. Fisk leading at second. Here's the stretch. 3-0 pitch. Lynn takes the fastball, low, ball 4. That's the first walk given up by Don. A total of 5 walks given by Cleveland pitching tonight. Well, George Scott 0 for 3, wrapped into a double play to end the first inning. Called out on strikes in the fourth, called out on strikes leading off in the 6th. Batting average has dropped to 253. Don Hood continues to dig a huge hole in front of the rubber.
Better get him a shovel.
Hood looks into Alexander. The stretch, 2 on, there's 1 out. And the pitch to Scott. Curveball high, ball 1. Second game, Clyde against Wright. Hood shakes his head. Now stretches. And here's the 1-0 pitch. Scott swing and a miss. Alexander, he got hit with the bat. Got nailed with the bat on the arm. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jimmy Warfield up on the dugout steps. Wants to go out, I think, and see if Gary's all right. like he may have caught it on the hand the way he's flexing his fingers.
Yeah, he got him on that left elbow.
Oh, is that
double swing?
Probably numbness then on the fingers. Right on the old crazy bone. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 2 on, 9-0. The Bo Sox are doing it tonight. First of a doubleheader. Stretch, pitch. There's a drive to right. Speed will never catch this one. It is up against the wall. Fisk scores. Racing around third, Lynn. He scores. Scott at second with a double. It is 11-0. Scott with 26 RBIs for the year. Eight hits off Hood and now 5 runs. Dwight Evans, the batter. Paul Russell starting to warm up for the Indians. Evans tonight 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. Curveball outside, ball 1. This is the second 4-run inning of the ball game for the Red Sox. They had 1 on the first and have added 4 more here in the 7th. The pitch. Curveball for a strike, and the count is 1-1. Herb, I begin to feel that the Indians may have made these guys mad last night.
I'm telling you, they are whapping that baseball. They have hit it everywhere.
Stretch, 1-1 pitch. Bouncing ball foul. That's over to the third base dugout, in and out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Red Sox have scored at least 1 run in every inning but the 2nd and the 6th. Evans with a very closed right-hand stance. Pitch, foul ball on the screen, and the count is 1-2.
Oh, he just missed that one.
You could say, I hope they get tired for the second game, but Zimmer's got a whole second team ready to go in the second game.
He's going to make a lot of changes.
1-2 pitch. There's a fly ball into short left field. Going back is Larvell Blank. Runs under it, makes the catch.
And it's going to be a double play because George Scott,
He thought there were 2 outs, and he is doubled up easily at second base. He was all the way around third. So it's a double play to retire the side. Fly ball to the shortstop Blank. And the double up goes 6-4. Kuiper at second base taking the throw back in to retire the side. But the Boston Red Sox do some business in the 7th inning of play. 4 more runs on 4 more hits. There's a walk and nobody left. So, Indian fans, now is the hour. Battered and bruised. Up on your feet for the 7th inning stretch. The score, Boston 11, Cleveland nothing. Home half of the 7th inning. Have a new left fielder. Bob Bailey will be playing in left field.
but he has been out there for a while.
Sam Bowen in center. Bowen will be batting 4th in Yastrzemski's spot, and Bailey will be batting 6th in Lynn's spot. They're both scheduled to play in the second game. Bernie Carbo in the 7th. He has bounced to second and struck out. You're right. I'll bet you Bob Bailey hasn't been in the outfield in a long time. The pitch. Low ball 1. Bailey, according to the lineup card in the dugout before the first game, was set to go in the DH role in the second game. Carbo lifts a high fly ball to left. Bailey going back under this one and makes the catch. 1 out. We'll bring up Horace Speed for the first time in this game. Speed replaced Norris defensively in the 6th inning. Horace hitting .286 with 3 RBIs, 0 for 1 against the Red Sox this year. Eckersley given up 3 base hits and has been supported with an 11-run outburst. Pitch outside, ball 1. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Fastball, strike, 1-1. Wayne Garland stopped by and took a look at my picture of the 1947 Cubs here on the wall of the booth. Here's a 1-1 pitch.
He doesn't remember any of those fellas.
That is right. He wasn't around for the 1947 Cubs. Take my word for it, it was a good ball club. Don't look at any record books, just take my word. 2-1 pitch. Strike at the letters on the inside corner, 2-2 to Horace Speed. The AM softball team from Holmesville, Ohio here. Craig Taylor, Ron Cheney, Rusty Dial, Larry Dial, Ricky Allison, and Jeff Lashley from Philbuck, Ohio. And the CNS softball team from Millersburg here tonight. Beef Allison, well, same bunch of guys. Oh, sorry, fellas, you only get one reading. I don't care how many teams you play for. 2-2 pitch to Speed. Lines it down the left field line, but foul into the bullpen. 2-2. Harold Sapara of Strongsville, president of the Dwayne Kuiper Fan Club, reminding everybody that you can contact Patty Arch during the Indians games at 861-1200 if you'd like to join the Dwayne Kuiper Fan Club. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch to Horace Speed. Fastball low. And the count is full at 3-2. There's 1 out. Nobody on. 7th inning. Boston 11, Cleveland nothing. Wind up in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. 6 strikeouts for Eckersley.
And Eckersley now has retired the last 7 men that he's faced.
Wayne Kuiper slapped a single into right field in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2 on the night, hitting at .254. Well, they tell us that Jimmy Norris had to leave the ball game for a pulled right hamstring. Wind up, pitch. Kuiper takes the strike on the inside corner, strike 1. They have X-rays. I was going to say they have exercise. That's not quite the word. They have X-rays. The wrist of Tom Bereiser, and the negative X-rays say no bones broken. There's the second hit of the ball game for Kuiper. He drills it into left center field over the head of the shortstop, Frank Duffy. Well, Kuiper's 2 for 3, and that's 4 hits off Eckersley. Batter is Marvell Blank. He is struck out, thrown out bunting the ball by the pitcher in the 5th inning. Kuiper at first, 2 outs, 7th inning, 11-0 Boston. Stretched by Eckersley, a pitch. Low, ball 1. A stretch. Next pitch to Blank. That's the strike of an E. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eckersley looks in again. The pitch. Low. 2 balls and a strike. Eckersley ready. 2-1 pitch to Marvell. Strike. Slider. Knee-high outside corner. 2-2.
Eckersley's throwing his fastball better now than he has at any time during the game, I think.
Dodgers are rolling down in Houston tonight, 4-0 at the end of 3 innings of play behind Bert Hooton. Reggie Smith at his 12th. Pitch, slapped up the middle. Duffy, the shortstop, to his left, flips over to Remy for the force play on Kuiper, and the side is retired. No runs and a hit with a man left. At the end of 7 innings of play, it is still Boston 11, Cleveland nothing. Montefusco against Norton. Folks, I want to tell you, Philadelphia must be scoring them by the bundle in the 6th inning. In the 6th inning alone, Fryman, Twitchell, May, and Turtle have all worked. We know for the fact that Larry Christensen has hit his, oh, that can't be right. Jake McBride hit his 6th. Oh, it's It is. It is Christensen. He hit his third in the sixth with the bases loaded.
The pitcher?
Yeah. He's the guy now that is 2 behind Rick Wise for the Philadelphia pitching home run leadership. Frank Duffy in the 8th inning. 2 for 3 on the night. Takes Sid's first pitch low, ball 1. Frank struck out against Paxton in the 2nd. Singled a drive and a run in the 3rd and singled again in the 6th. Hitting .324. The pitch to him, low, ball 1. Wind up by Hood, and the next pitch to Frank. That's a strike to the knees with a fastball. The count is 2-1. Eighth inning, 11-0. Philadelphia leads, or I should say, Boston leads. Pitch is high and inside, 3-1. Wind up and the pitch. Duffy takes low and inside, ball 4. Duffy walked. That is the second walk by Hood, a total of 6 by Indian pitching. Brings up Jerry Remy. Remy had walked and scored on Brohammer's triple in the first. Bounced to the catcher with a... Hello there. Bounced to the catcher in the second inning on a high hopper out in front of the plate. He was called out on strikes as the first man Hood faced in the 5th and lined to the second baseman in the 6th. 0 for 3 with a run scored on the night. Takes the first pitch, a strike on the inside corner, strike 1. A stretch. Looks at first. Strike 1 off ring, curveball inside, and the count is 1-1. Gary Coates, who listens to our games on WBBW over in Youngstown. Wants his wife Carrie to know that he's here, made it to the ballpark safely. Curveball inside, Remy backs away, and the count goes to 2-1. Don Hood leans in for the sign. Paul Russell warming up again for the Indians. 1-2 pitch. Strike to the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A stretch again. 2-2 pitch to Remy. Fly ball into center field. Manning digging over and back to his right. Hauls it down. Duffy back to first base. 1 out. Kirk had to run a long way to grab that one. Jack Brohammer tripled to left center, drove in a run, and then scored on 5th home run on the 4-run first. He had a single to right field and scored to start the 4-run 7th. If that gives you an indication, in case you're just listening in for the first time tonight, that the Indians are having some trouble, you're right. 11-0 Boston in the 8th. Stretch by Hood. And the pitch, curveball, fouled over toward Ned Welk. And just by him, and Mike Sweeney, the bat boy, picks that one up. Strike 1 the count. Stretch. And the pitch, curveball, swing and a miss. He was out in front of the breaking pitch, and the count is strike 2. Boston has 11 runs on 13 hits. The Indians, no runs, 4 base hits. Duffy at first base with 1 out on the top of the 8th. Hood looks to Alexander for the sign, stretches. And here's the pitch. Curveball, strike 3, and Brohammer knew it. Brohammer called out on strikes. That is the 5th strikeout for Hood to go with 2 walks.
Indian pitchers have struck out 10 Red Sox batters tonight.
That is the 400th Red Sox to strike out this year. Batter is Jim Rice. He fanned in the 1st and fanned in the 3rd against Paxton. Tripled and scored and singled and scored off Hood. Stretch and pitch. Curveball, high and outside, ball 1. Rice hitting .324. Duffy leads at first base. The pitch. Line drive, right field. Horace Speed 2 steps to his right, stabs the liner, and the side is retired. 8th inning, no runs, no hits, a walk, and a man left on base. We're going to the home half of the 8th inning, and it is still Boston 11, Cleveland nothing. In the 8th inning, the Indians will have Alexander, Manning, and Grubb against Dennis Eckersley. Indians will finish the homestand and the portion of the season prior to the All-Star break tomorrow with a bat day at 2:05. Following the All-Star break, Thursday night and Friday night, the Indians will be in Oakland. Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night, they will be in Seattle. Tuesday night and Wednesday night, we will be in California. Thursday, a travel day, and the Indians will open their next homestand on Friday, July the 21st against Seattle at 7:30. There will be a Saturday game at 2 with the Mariners and a Sunday doubleheader, which will be Banner Day. And California comes to town before we take a little trip to New York for 3 games in about 36 hours. Gary Alexander batted for Diaz and struck out on the 5th inning of play. Gary hitting .233. He goes for 5 in this series. Wind up by Eckersley, pitch to Alexander. He checks his swing, the pitch outside, ball 1. Boston 11, Cleveland nothing in the 8th. Wind up for the 1-0 pitch. Gary takes a strike with an ease, and the count is even at a ball and a strike. Scott at first, Remy at second, Duffy at short, Brohammer at third, Bailey in left, Bowen in center, Evans in right, Fisk catching, X pitching, and Alex taking inside. 2-1. Eckersley with the 2-1 pitch to Alexander. Strike, letter high on the inside corner. Alex very unhappy with that call. Steps way back. 2-2 the count. Jim McKeon, the home plate umpire. Greg Kopp at first base will be calling balls and strikes for the nightcap. Two pitch. Alex takes low and outside. I got one for you. Just came to mind. The other day somebody asked me, is it a league rule or tradition that the umpires rotate as they do for the game?
I think it's probably the rule. It's just the way they do it.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. Alex takes inside, ball 4. Gary Alexander walks to start the 8th inning of play. Second walk given up by Eckersley.
I will consult my rule book, however.
Rick Manning is singled, been safe for the fielder's choice, and called out on strikes. He's 1 for 3 on the night. Alexander at first base. Eckersley to stretch. And the pitch to Manning. Going outside, ball 1. Red Sox had 4 in the first and 4 in the 7th. Single runs in innings 3, 4, and 5. Home runs by Fisk with 2 on and Yastrzemski with the bases empty. Fisk has driven in 5 runs tonight. Pitch, Manning, line drive over Scott's head down into the right field corner. Alexander around second. Going to third, picked up by Evans, and the throw back in, and Alexander holds at third. Manning with a double.
Well, Nick Manning, the last 2 nights, really starting to hit the ball with some authority.
Manning 3 for 5 last night, 2 for 4 in this game. And this will bring to bat Johnny Grubb. 5 hits now off Eckersley. Eck has had 1 shutout this year, and he's up 11-0 in this one. The Indians have runners at second and third, nobody out. Eckersley looks in and gets the sign. Here's the strike. And the pitch. Grubb, it's a drive down the right field line, extra bases. It'll bring home both runs. Alexander scores. Manning claps home. Grubb standing with a double, and the Indians cut it to 11-2. Johnny Grubb with 4 runs batted in thus far in this series, and that hit extends his hitting streak to 5 games in a row. the batter. Two runs and 6 hits off Eckersley now. Big Buddy pops it foul. This one is coming back. Fisk coming right back with it. At the screen, jumps up. Oh, great try by Fisk, but he couldn't come up with it. Well, Carlton Fisk went all the way to the screen and jumped up on the screen trying to pick off that foul ball. That is what you call a big league effort when you're 9 runs up and you're still trying to make defensive plays like that.
And this through the rule book, Joe, there's no rule that states how the umpires shall rotate, but I think it's in the umpires, they just rotate that way. It's part of their rules.
Rub at second base, there's still nobody out. Stretched by Eckersley. Pitch to Buddy Bell. High drive, left field. Back goes Bailey at the wall. He leaps. Home run. No, it's back on the field. It is a home run.
A fan hit the ball. But it was above the wall.
George Maloney signals home run, and the Indians make it 11-4. Zimmer and Bailey are both arguing out in left field. That's Buddy's 4th home run of the year.
There's no question the fan hit that ball, but the ball was up above the wall when he hit it.
Very similar to the call we had on that home run the other day when the fan reached at the foul pole.
Right.
But touched the ball above the wall and a home run given. It is for George. He was way out there in left field where he had his best possible look. So it is an 11-4 ball game. And there's still nobody out. Here's Andre Thornton. He is struck out, slide deep to left twice. He put Yaz right in front of that blue wall 2 times tonight. Wind up by Eckersley. Pitch to Thornton. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. So the 11-4 ball game in the 8th inning. Strike 1 the count on Andy. Rupp doubled home 2, and Bell has homered for 2. Crowd roaring because the scoreboard was wrong. They only had 3 runs up there. Now they flagged 4. Now the crowd is roaring because Andy Thornton is at bat. Strike 1 pitch coming in. Andy takes low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Buddy Bell's 4th home run of the year. Pitch. Thornton takes inside. 2 balls and a strike. Eckersley looking in again. Wind up. 2-1 pitch to Thornton. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 4 is the predominant number on that scoreboard right now. Sox with 4 in the first, 4 in the 7th. The Indians now scored 4 in the 8th. 11-4 Boston. Eckersley looks in and gets the sign. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Thornton. Andy, check swing, ball inside. May have hit the bat. Did hit the bat. Rolls up the first base line, and the count is still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball thrown out of play. Bernie Carbo on deck. Indians have scored 4 times in the 8th inning. There's still nobody out. Dennis Eckersley holds up the shirt sleeve. Winds up. 2-2 pitch to Thornton. Andy takes inside. Full count of 3-2. Eckersley looks into Fisk. Thornton ready. Here's the wind up. 3-2 pitch. And he swings and misses, striking out. 7 strikeouts for Eckersley. That brings on Bernie Carbo. He has bounced to second, struck out, and flied to left. 0 for 3 on the night. Carbo hitting .253. Wind up, first pitch to Bernie. Fastball, strike. Knee high in the inside corner. Eckersley winds up. Here's the strike one pitch. Bernie looks at the curveball low, and the count is even at a ball and a strike. Horace Speed on deck. 1-1 pitch. Carbo takes inside. 2 balls at a strike. Sunshine still showing in the upper deck and right in one corner of the bleachers to the right of the scoreboard and across the top of the big scoreboard in center field. Wind up. 2-1 pitch to Bernie Carbo. Bernie swings and misses, and the count is 2-2. Scott, Remy, Duffy, and Brohammer are on the Boston infield first to third, and outfield of Bailey, Bowen, and Evans. 2-2 pitch to Carbo. Swing and a foul back on the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Eckersley rubbing up another baseball, and we'll be getting a station break to you here in just a minute or so. Wind up, 2-2 pitch to Bernie. Inside, full count of 3-2. It opened with a walk to Alexander. Manning doubled. Grubb doubled home both Alexander and Manning, and Bell slammed a 2-run homer. 3-2 pitch. Carbo swing and a miss, struck him out. Now let's pause for station identification. This is the Cleveland Indians Baseball Network.
This is 3WJ, Central Ohio's home, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, Browns, and Indians. WWJ, Johnstown.
Batted once tonight since replacing Jimmy Norris, and he struck out in the 7th inning. Norris had to leave with a pulled right hamstring muscle. Pitch inside, ball 1. Be a 20-minute break among the network for whatever, and then we'll be back with a nightcap when this game is over. 1-0 pitch. Speed swing and a miss, and the count is 1-1. Philadelphia got 5 in the 6th, leading Montreal 6-2 at the end of 6 innings of play. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a foul back off the mask of the catcher, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Gary Carter just homered for Montreal in the 7th. Pitch. Speed wraps the ball to the third baseman, Brohammer. Jack up with it, throws across, and the side is retired. 8th inning for the Indians. 4 runs, 3 hits, and a walk, nobody left. At the end of 8 innings of play, Boston 11, Cleveland 4. Now, Bob Horner, the rookie at Atlanta, hits his 4th home run in the 5th inning with a man on as the Padres and the Braves matched 3-run 5th innings, and it is now 5-4 Atlanta at the end of 5 innings of play. Well, here's Sam Bowen batting for the first time, not only against the Indians, but against the American League. Bowen, well, I'll take that back because he was in 3 games last year with the Red Sox at the end of the season. Hit .265 at Pawtucket, just came up recently from Pawtucket again. And Bowen with his first at-bat. And in 1 game previously as a defensive move. Chops the ball down the third base line, bouncing foul. Bell, Alexander, and Hood converge on it. Foul ball, strike 1. Bowen is 5'9", 167 pounds out of Brunswick, Georgia. Top of the 9th. The Indians trail 11-4. Don Hood looks in, winds up and throws. Bowen takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Bowen, Fisk, and Bailey in the 9th. The pitch, low and outside. 2 balls to the strike. Paxton worked the first 4. Hood's been in there ever since. Wind up. 2-1 pitch. Way outside and high. Now 3-1 the count. Hood to the rosin sack. Drops it. Wind up by Hood. 3-1 pitch. Bowen takes low and inside. Ball 4. That is the 3rd walk given up by Hood, and a total of 7 by Indian pitching. They've also fanned 10. Carlton Fisk, this guy's been a terror in this game. 3-run homer in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd, singled in the 5th, and doubled in 2 more runs in the 7th. 3 for 4 on the night with 5 RBIs. He now has 11 homers, 40 RBIs, and his batting average is up to .291. Fisk has now hit safely in 19 of his last 24 ball games. A stretch and a pitch. Fisk takes the curveball low, ball 1. Bob Bailey on deck. Runs, 13 hits for the Red Sox, 4 runs, 7 hits for the Indians. A stretch by Don Hood. Pitch, curveball low. 2-0. Look for the sign by Don Hood. That time called. Well, there was some garble on the ticker, and I see the folks that run the scoreboard figure that McBride hit that home run with the bases loaded in the 6th. I interpreted what was on there that Christensen hit the home run, and we'll just have to wait till we get further clarification. Pitch high, fly ball to short left. Left fielder is going in, but Blanks is going out, and shortstop Marvell Blanks picks off that fly ball. 1 down on the 9th. Bob Bailey. He has been to bat 45 times with 9 hits, a 200 batting average, 2 homers, and 6 runs batted in.
Bailey's been around the major leagues for a long time. In his 16th major league season, he first came up with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1962.
He is 0 for 3 against the Indians this year. The stretch, the pitch, low, blocked by Alexander. Ball 1. Bailey is 6 feet even, 185 pounds.
Remember a few years ago when he signed with the Pirates, he signed for a huge bonus back in the early 60s. Want to know the count. A stretch. And the pitch. Bailey takes low. Ball 2. 11-4. Boston in the top of the 9th, leading and batting with 1 out and 1 on. Stretch by Don Hood. 2-0 pitch to Bailey. Swing and a miss. 2-1. A stretch. 2-1 pitch. Line drive, left center field. He tagged that one right up the gap. Manning cuts it off in the gap. Here comes the throw back in, and they hold runners at 2nd and 3rd, a double for Bailey. Good play by Manning. He saved another run. Put through Bailey a high changeup, I think. Either that was a forkball. It didn't do much. That is the 9th hit off Don Hood. George Scott. He wrapped into a double play in the 1st inning. Called out on strikes in the 4th, again in the 6th, and doubled in 2 runs in the 7th.
Pitch to Scott. Curveball. Chopped toward third. Bell in with it. Looks to the plate. No play there. Throws on to first base to get Scott. An RBI for the Boomer. And it is now 12-4. 2 outs. And on the play, Bailey held at second base. Dwight Evans, the batter. Scott with 27 runs batted in for the year. Evans has bounced to third, sacrificed, line to right, popped up to the shortstop. George Scott thought there were 2 outs and took off, and they doubled him up. Pitch, low, ball 1. Don Hood looks in, gets the sign. Here's the stretch. And the pitch to Evans. Curveball, strike to the outside corner, 1-1. Well, earlier in the year, the Indians pounded the Red Sox by a count of 13-4. This one is very closely approximating that right now. 1-1 pitch. Bounce down the third base line. Grabbed by Bell behind the bag. Throws over, and the side is retired. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 left. And at the end of 8 1/2 innings of play, it is Boston 12, Cleveland 4. Well, it's the last of the ninth. Eckersley will try to finish it up. Kuiper, Blanks, and Diaz do against him. 12-4, Boston leads. Second game will be sending David Clyde to the mound against Jim Wright. Minnesota just tied that game out in Oakland, and with Oakland batting in the last half of the ninth inning, it is 7-7. Giants 2-0 over Cincinnati in the third. Here's Dwayne Kuiper. Wind up on the pitch to Kipe, and he slaps the fly ball down the left field line. Bailey gets a late start coming over, and the ball drops for a hit. Kuiper, big turn, goes back as the throw comes into Remy, and Dwayne Kuiper is 3 for 4. Total of 8 hits off Eckersley. Marvell Blanks struck out. Bunted out, safe for the fielder's choice. Pitch to Blanks, swing and a miss, strike 1. Giants the Dodgers leading the Astros 4-0 in the 6th at Houston in the first of 2. Stretch by Eckersley, pitch to Larvell, blank swing and a miss again, strike 2. Say hi to Paul Calkins out of the Briar Hill Nursing Home. Avid Indian fan. Paul, we're happy to have you with us on this Saturday evening. Let us hope for better things in the second game. Pitch. Blanks chops the ball foul over toward Ned Welch. 2 strikes. Kuiper at first base in the last of the ninth. Dennis delivers. Blanks slaps the foul back. That sizzles up and down the screen, and the count is still strike 2. Marvell Blanks, at the moment, hitting .248. The stretch, the pitch. Marvell takes 9 outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gary Alexander on deck. Eckersley ready, stretches, 1-2 pitch. Blanks takes outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Eckersley made a lot of pitches in this game.
Eckersley pulls up the right shirt sleeve, stretches. 2-2 pitch to Larvell. Fastball, bounce foul, back up and down the screen, and the count is still 2-2. Well, that one, I guess, avoided the screen and made the seats. Eckersley stretches. There comes the 2-2 to Larvell. Blanks at the drive at his center field. Coming on the center fielder, Bowen side. The ball bounces away from him. Piper digging for third. Blanks at first, and the Indians have runners at first and at third. Throw by Bowen goes right over Remy's head down to Scott at first. And the Indians have runners at first and at third with nobody out of the ninth. That extends Larvell Blank's hitting streak to 5 games in a row.
Indians now at 9 hits, and Red Sox have not had action yet in the bullpen today.
Alexander struck out and walked. He started the 4-run rally in the 8th. Gary hitting .233. Eckersley looks into the sign from Fisk. The stretch. Pitch to Alexander. It is a strike. Batter at the knees. Strike 1. Eckersley looks in again. The stretch. And the strike 1 pitch. Alexander fouls it back into the upper deck. And the count is strike 2. Eckersley. Ready. Piper at third. Blanks at first. Nobody out. Last of the ninth. 12-4 Boston. 2-strike pitch. Alex swings and misses. Struck him out. Alexander becomes the 9th strikeout victim for Eckersley tonight. Top of the order, Manning. Rick singled in the first inning. Fielder's choice in the third. Called out on strikes in the 5th and doubled in the 8th. 2 for 4 on the night. Batting average at .270. For the sign. 1 out now in the last of the ninth. Stretch and pitch. Manning looks at a breaking ball outside. Ball 1. 12-4 Boston. Stretch in the pitch. Manning hit the drive into left center field. Bailey racing over. Reaches out, caught the ball. Piper tags and will score. Blanks goes back to first, and it's 12-5. Manning with his 28th run batted in, and his 5th in this series.
Bob Bailey, who hasn't played much outfield this year, handled himself well on that ball.
2 outs. Well, Johnny Grubb in the 8th inning doubled in 2 runs. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Now has 31 RBIs for the year, hitting at .237. John has increased his current hitting pair to 5 games in a row. A stretch. Pitch to Grubb. John takes low, ball 1. Blanks at first, 2 outs, last of the ninth. Boston 12, Cleveland 5. Stretch and pitch. Grubb started to go, went too far. 1 ball, 1 strike. Clyde against Wright. We just called Philadelphia to find out. It was not Christensen who hit the home run. It was McBride. 1 ball and 1 strike. Curve low, 2-1. When you see something on the wire, however, that says the pitcher hit a bases-loaded home run in the 6th inning,
I would figure it would be Christensen.
It tends to make you believe it's the pitcher, and not McBride. But then McBride's name came down all by itself with nothing attached to it. 2 balls and a strike. Pitch to Grubb. John checks swing, pops it up. This should end it. Brohammer, third baseman, to his left, makes the grab, and the game is over. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 man left. And the final score, Boston 12, Cleveland 5. Will wrap it up after this timeout.